Good morning, good morning, good morning. Isn't it funny? I always start with more than one good morning or hello or something.
The enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we're in the middle of the week, which is sort of not the middle of the week for most people because it's Easter coming up. And so there's a lot of holidays, public holidays, and in different areas, different parts of the world, there's different. I just spoke to my team. They're having Holy Day tomorrow, and yeah, so it's all very, very. It's not a normal week, and so I'm saying it's the middle of the week, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like that. So we are here on Wednesday Wisdom with the beautiful Janelle, and Janelle and we were talking on the phone the other day, trying to work out how long it's been since, one, we've spoken to each other, but two, how long it's been since we've known each other, because we both live up, or I did live up in Far North Queensland in Cairns, and that's where we met the very first time. So how are you? You're not in Cairns anymore either.
No, I'm not. I'm on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
I'm well. Yeah.
You're good?
Yes.
That's awesome. And so we're actually talking about wellness.
We are.
Yeah, whole body wellness, which is, I love the way you've put that, the whole body wellness, because people can tend to focus on one particular type of wellness, especially if they've got any sort of dis-ease in their body, they tend to focus on fixing that disease. But when you can become holistic to the whole experience, you find that the body has the ability to heal itself, right? So,
and I think each piece is a catalyst for the other. So, focusing purely on the physical, like concentrating on only what you're eating or only what you're drinking, is amazing, but it's only one piece. And then when you incorporate the emotional layer, the mental layer, and I guess reflect and question, how is my mental health? Are my emotions taking over? And in a naturopath consult, when I'm sitting with a client, I always try and listen for the language that they're using to sort of understand how they're framing their world, because it's all well and good to be giving them nutrition support or, gut healing powders. But if they're super stressed at their job or not happy with where they're living, we can't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you like to bring that awareness in, because that's where we're heading, right? And we've been heading that way for a long time. However, it's becoming a lot more mainstream these days to look at the full spectrum of our whole being, not just that physical. Is quite interesting, because it made me think of a friend of mine that I know, amazingly fit, amazingly strong, not a skerrick of blood, fat on her body, and yet constantly, like every year gets sick and and it's, you'd think looking at her that she'd have it all figured out, but that's not the case.
Strong. Yeah. And I see that as an invitation, I think, for that client, for example, or that person, it's an invitation to question, what am I ignoring? There's obviously something that's repeating. Either in her mindset or her environment. Maybe she's surrounded by mold. I have no idea. But questioning those subtle layers are really, really potent.
And so you're a naturopath by trade?
I am naturopath, nutritionist, and herbalist. Yeah. So I love making up herbal tinctures and working with herbal teas and using them medicinally, but also supporting a client with whole foods and nutrition, and perhaps questioning whether maybe they need a detox, or getting them to slow down. And sometimes it's not the information, but the accountability piece of working with a naturopath, because often we know what to do, and we just need to be able to action it and be accountable to those changes. And sometimes they're so simple, but by implementing them daily, we get the little ripple effect that happens in the body.
Just the accountability factor is that's such a big thing, right? It's in so many different areas. That's what I know for myself with working with my clients, that it's the same. Is, we're more holding them accountable, being a mentor, like someone outside of themselves to see behind their blinkers. And I do that for myself as well. I think that when I worked out that needing an accountability coach or mentor was a facet, then my whole world accelerated.
Totally, it's huge.
Yeah.
And because
that's go.
Because
Sorry.
either you or I, as the mentor, are not in it, it's easier for us to observe the bigger picture. I think when you're in it, you can sometimes have an unintentional tunnel vision of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so nice to hear, because the word naturopath can have connotations to it from, 10 years ago when you'd go to the naturopath, people would avoid it because they'd come out with $300 worth of supplements, right? And so that really sort of tainted the whole idea of naturopathy, didn't it?
Yeah, I feel really sad that the industry has moved towards what looks like just a natural pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
It's basically a convenience option using natural pills and potions. And I think when a client is given a gazillion pills, A, what are they going to absorb? And B, is that financial stress going to add a layer of stress to their healing? So I like to meet a client where they're at and gauge what their goal is and how fast or slow we need to move on the journey of wellness with them, so that financial stress is not a piece. It is good to sort of stretch them and bring them out of their comfort zone, but not to sort of, cause additional worry, because that.
Because when you think about it, as you just said, a natural pharmaceutical, like it's losing that educational piece of, we have the power to be healthy. We don't have to, be shoving all this stuff down. And where is the long term of that, right? Yeah. Because if you don't do all the holistic experience that you're talking about, then you're missing out on the education. You're missing out on the continual reprogramming of, changing the food, little by little, and reestablishing whole foods in the body, all of those things that then become more a natural process and a long-term, a long-term result rather than a quick fix, which is what we're also conditioned to believe in or to choose from the pharmaceutical industry, right? Like, here, pop a pill and you're going to get a result. And side effects.
And what was that last bit?
And side effects.
Yeah. A traditional naturopath should be using the wisdom of nature. And, that's not always a quick fix. It depends how your environment supports that journey. If you're changing your lifestyle, but also working huge hours at work, the result is not necessarily going to be as quick as someone who's willing to sort of carve out 2 weeks, fully surrender into the process and allow the healing to take place. But I do also see supplements as a bridging gap. I see them as a beautiful acceleration tool to kind of get from A to B with additional support, because you can be using good quality supplements and powders. I'm really picky with brands that I use, making sure there's no excipients or fillers, but they can be a really beautiful support tool so that the detox symptoms are not as severe. Because by adding additional nutrients, the body has sort of like extra resources to cleanse and repair.
Absolutely. And I'm the same. I agree with like I'd love to hear your wisdom on this, is that if we were to do it with just food alone, because we've got our food has been depleted over the decades of chemicals, and even organics don't have that full spectrum of what the plant originally started with, then like I take supplements every day, you know, like I have an end result of being strong and vital into my 90s, you know, so you know, I'm thinking about that already. And so supplements are a big part of my life now because and you know, the nutritional food. So can you share with us a little bit what your thoughts are with that?
Yeah, with the aging process or the supplement piece?
Well, the supplements,
Yeah, so I mean, I fully agree. Like, aging can be really graceful, and I run fasting retreats, and I feel like fasting is a beautiful tool to support longevity. And in that container of the fast, people are given an opportunity to fully surrender and allow all of those kind of uncomfortable emotions to be brought up with the right practitioners in place. In the day-to-day life, though, yeah, I feel like there's some really great nutritional support powders that can be used as an adjunct to nutrition. And I feel like you can't discount the life force that's either present or diminished in food. So you can be buying organics, but when was it picked?
Yeah.
And does that food contain much life force? Very different if you picked, say, a leaf of rocket from your garden and ate it straight away. Really vital. And that vitality in that food is transferred into the body and adds to a human's life force and vitality. So I guess I'm not super clear on the question, but I do back you completely. And I feel like nutritional support tools can be brought in to the diet to basically compensate for the free radicals that our body is constantly dealing with due to external environmental stresses, stress in itself due to work or the busy lifestyle that we lead, and those free radicals and oxidative stress that the body is constantly trying to process and repair and deal with, wear on the body. And so as we age, if we surround ourselves with incredible sources of life force and high nutrition, that aging process is more graceful.
Absolutely. And also that's another thing that I want to go back to the fasting in a second, but one of the things, like I limit chemicals in my life like almost to zero, right? As in everything that I can predominantly affect in my life is chemical free. And yet we live in a toxic chemical environment. We cannot think that we are separate from, you know, putting petrol in your car, you know, having carpet on the floor, all, you know, the glues that are in everything, you know,
totally.
Plastic, you know, like you try desperately to stop plastic. And as my daughter said, you know, they eliminated plastic bags, but as soon as they did that, she said, did you notice that the fruit and veg section is now everything's in plastic? You know, they went from one to the other, you know, and so you need to that's just the way we live, right? So limiting it, but as you were saying, those supplements to help with, you know, clearing the free radicals that are just constantly in our life. So
I'm so passionate about chemical-free living because it disrupts our hormones. And I think as women, we can really notice that in our monthly cycle. When we bring awareness to it, and if we notice that we've got a erratic menstrual cycle, or we've got really bad PMS, or we're particularly moody, or it's a really heavy bleed, or there's incredible pain, you know, our periods should not be painful. And the more signs that our cycle presents, the more I can, I guess, support that client, because I've got symptoms to work with, signs and symptoms. And that comes back to the liver. When we're supporting our liver, our hormones are manufactured with a lot more ease, and they can self-regulate, because our body has so much wisdom. and so much innate knowledge, and often we just get in the way. So by I guess treating it as an invitation, again, same as what I said before, and observing these weird and wonderful signs that the body's trying to communicate to you with, we can leverage off that and create a health plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will just add in there, like, it's so interesting to me, you know, when you just do something naturally and you just assume everyone knows, and then you find out that they, you know, actually it's not something everyone knows, you know.
Yes.
It's amazing how many women in my life are oblivious to the chemicals and the toxic, like the toxic chemicals that are in store-bought pads and tampons.
Yes.
And so I know just from myself, you know, at least 3 or 4 women that I've said to them, you know, if you're going to use them, buy the organic ones. And given that, you know, told them that, because those chemicals are actually causing you to have hormone imbalances and to bleed more, so you buy more product, right?
Yeah.
And so I know, you know, one of them I just spoke to on the weekend, but the other 3, just doing that, changing that, stopped them from having painful periods and the extent, you know, the heavy bleeds. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's great, you know, like, that's, if there's anything that we should be, you know, sharing with the world of women, is get rid of those chemical tampons and pads. Yeah.
Totally. And as a side note, you're voting with your dollar, right? So what company do you want to support?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about menstrual cups. I feel like they're a really low impact piece on the earth, and also chemical free for the system. And menstrual pads, right? I've
just always used the cloth pads myself. So when I'm not bleeding anymore at the moment, so which is and it's a process, you know. Every so often, like, you know, a couple of months will go and I will bleed again, and I have that, oh, you know, this is sacred because I'm going to be finishing this soon, you know. So which is so different to when I was younger. It was like, oh my God, I'm bleeding again. Like, you know? It's interesting how being a woman changes as you become more, you know, connected to yourself and understand, you know, the sacred of it.
But on the chemical load topic that you were just speaking of, I mean, if we just do a quick list of things in our daily environment, you know, dishwashing liquid, laundry powder, makeup, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, perfumes, and then we were speaking deodorant,
people that use air fresheners.
Oh, I know. And we were speaking before the live started about my tiny home. You know, I'm sitting in my tiny home at the moment, and I had an opportunity to work with the builder to build a chemical-free home. And that was huge, to do the research on all the products, flooring, you know, paints. They were 2 big pieces of the puzzle. I then built it using a wooden frame as opposed to a steel frame, just for a bit more of that earth element around me. But it was a deep dive.
I can imagine. And so, because as soon as you came on, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the tiny home you were telling me about? And I love the stairs, and like I can see that there's cupboards behind you under the stairs. And so you're sort of in your kitchen area at the moment, or your lounge room?
I'm in my lounge. Because, you know, it is a tiny home. So lounge becomes kitchen, becomes bathroom. So it's fair of you to say kitchen, because that's behind me.
And you can't see it now because I think you changed there's a sunlight in your
up top. And I can put a piece of wood over that with reflector just to keep the heat out in summer, but it's really nice to let that natural light in, and also be able to see the stars at night.
Oh, I can imagine. So obviously that's your bedroom.
That's the main bed, and then right above me is a spare loft with a little futon and all my books and things. So it was really really incredible. And I've been living off grid in the tiny for 18 months now, and that's been a huge learning curve to I guess experience all the lessons that come with that, with solar and water. And yeah, it's been fun now that I've got that perspective. But throughout it, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, I can imagine.
why am I using a head torch at 6 p.m? My solar should be working.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is in the early days where things weren't quite communicating very well.
Yeah, and so everything's solar in the. You've just got solar on the top roof.
Yeah,
Okay.
and on the deck roof, yeah, solar
Yeah.
panels. Yeah.
And what did you say about your water?
I've got a water tank. So I just mean like the solar and water, it's completely off grid. So they're the two pieces that, are commonly connected to the grid.
Yeah.
And then I've got a compost toilet.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And as you said, so grounding, right? Another aspect of wellness. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I speak to my clients often about earthing. I think it's a simple remedy that's overlooked. Just standing barefoot on the grass or lying, even camping, brings in that element, lying on the earth.
Yeah.
It allows our circadian rhythm to regulate to the earth's rhythm, and it just helps reduce inflammation. It brings us back into our body and out of our head often. And that anti-inflammatory benefit from earthing just supports whole body wellness, even just subtly. The more anti-inflammatory aspects we can bring into our world, the better, which
absolutely,
that is the chemical-free living.
Yeah. And I'd love to just I know we're nearly finished, but I would love to hear a little bit more about your fasting retreats. I do intermittent fasting, so I don't have breakfast. I start the day with water and herbal tea, and so I won't have food until about 11 o'clock, sometimes even 12. And at one stage in my life, I mean, I've done juice fasts and I've done, the 10-day master cleanse. I used to do that every year. And I did a stage where I was fasting every Sunday. Tell me a little bit about fasting. And, if I'm doing intermittent fasting, I'm just like, I remember fasting on a Sunday. Can I do that at the same time? I mean, I can, right? It just as you were speaking, I'm like, yeah, I might do that for a while.
Might bring it back in. Yeah. So fasting is, I think, a beautiful acceleration tool for healing, because often when we're putting things in the tube constantly, whether it be liquids or solids, our body stops or pauses healing to deal with the obstacles in the tube. So it's constantly putting digestion first. So when we fast, I mean, I offer juice fasting, but I have done a lot of water fasting myself, and both are incredible healing tools, because cold press organic juice provides easy nutrients for the body. Without the fiber, the body doesn't have to digest. So it's kind of like, it's liquid nutrition. It's a very easy way for the cells to sort of heal and repair with ease and grace. So when we give our body that space, the body can get to all of those backlogged jobs kind of in the back room, kind of like a spring cleanse, the dust and the
corner cupboards,
the stuff in the shed that hasn't been dealt with. And I can't think of any exact examples, but it's doing that in all the organs and the lymphatic system and the circulatory system, and that provides more energy. It provides more ease. Our liver is the largest detoxing organ. And so at the fasting retreats, I set up a 5-day retreat, and the 3 middle days are 3 full days of juicing. So the first and the last are like an entry into the fast with plant-based nutrition and an exit out of the fast. And I bring in massage therapists and emotional support healers to allow people to dive deep and really I guess, have the opportunity to sort of surrender and fall apart or go through their own process. And we do morning activation sessions. There's a bit of yoga, there's breath work, there's sun gazing, there's information sessions. I'm trying to basically create a capsule in time for people to really heal and transform. And that education gives them like a toolkit, a ready toolkit to take home and do that at home if they choose, or some of them choose to come back and do another cleanse at the retreats, because it's, I guess, away from
it's a
home,
time to pause.
And a time to pause. Time to relax. And so I do see fasting as the fastest way to heal.
Well, as you're talking, I just I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, got COVID for the first time, and not the first, first and last time, and I'm just reminding my subconscious, and it was really interesting because I recognized something that I naturally do, which is, like I had 2 days in bed, and I had someone, a friend helping me and, like looking after me. And I just naturally go into fasting because, and I think that's because, the animals do the same, right? So that so the body can repair and restore the way it needs to without that, as you said, that added overload of having to digest food and put energy into that instead of, and then taking it away from. And the same with, we haven't spoken about this when we were on the phone, but I don't know if you know, a year ago I had a brain tumor removed.
No.
Yeah, and so I had a 4.5 centimetre brain tumor. It was not cancerous. It was a non-malignant one, but it was, the size of a piece of fruit in the back of my head.
Wow.
And as soon as I found out, I just started juicing. I took away everything. I just had, salads. I did have beans because I needed something, but the whole time I was in hospital for a week, and my daughter was at home juicing for me and bringing, like the salads in. Yeah, so that, it was just total let my body heal. And it was such an amazing process because, I mean, within that first 24 hours, they're trying to, we've got to support you in the shower and the toilet. But then with, the first time they're like, oh, you seem to have it, like, no pain, and the supplements that I take, I feel, and the spiritual, aspect and the emotions, and because I never saw it as a problem, I just saw it as an experience I was having. All of that combined is everything that you're talking about, right? Just and it was such an amazing process. Like she opened my head up and it got the whole thing. I walked out with no follow-up treatment, no medication, like I had no pain within,
That's beautiful.
Oh, it was amazing. And all of that is what you're promoting and you're passionate about and you're sharing with the world.
Totally. And it was an opportunity to heal for you even deeper. But not everyone has that comfort level with fasting. And so that's incredible that you've got that in your toolkit. And yes, the fasting retreats that I run are to try and break down that barrier of fear.
And give that support, right?
Yeah, and allow people to trust in their body again and feel well equipped, because it's not always a smooth ride. If you've got quite a toxic system, fasting can be quite messy. But through the education at the retreat, I try and give people that greater sense of trust in their system and that perspective of what's happening internally. And we need to move those toxins out. They don't just magically disappear. So we do enemas at the retreat, and I get them to do a colonic before they arrive, and basically trying to prep the system well so that when they are fasting, there's less detox symptoms. But there are, just allowing your body to rest and surrendering into that process.
Yeah, it's I suppose having someone as a mentor, like someone there that's holding space for you, it's also giving them that approval that, yes, this is safe. Yes, this is natural. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And we've just been conditioned to focus in a different unnatural way, like pop pills. Yeah. And so you do them on the Sunshine Coast?
Sunshine Coast and North Queensland.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You jump back. Oh, yeah, every so often I go, it's like home, right? Like,
yeah. It's a beautiful environment to fast too.
Yeah.
That tropical environment is quite warm for the system.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so, Janelle, if people want to get in contact with you and find out a little bit more, you'll be able to pop in your details in the thread. If you're watching on YouTube or on any of the other channels, we will put the details in there as well so that you have access and can get in contact with Janelle. It's been lovely to actually physically see you and to chat.
Ditto. Thank you for having me on to Wednesday Wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure, and I really enjoyed our conversation. We just, it flowed really well. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your Easter, and we will catch up with you soon.
Bye.